In the remote woods of Montana, 35-year-old Sarah Miller lived a quiet life with her 2 children in a small log cabin she'd built with her own hands. The snow had been falling for days, and the cold was sharper than usual. Late that night, as wind howled through the trees, Sarah was stirring the fire when she heard a deep rumble outside, then frantic knocking at her door. Her heart pounded as she opened it to see 25 bikers standing in the snow, their faces red from the cold leather jackets covered in frost. The man in front, tall and rugged, with grey streaks in his beard, removed his helmet and spoke gently. "Ma'am, we're not here for trouble. The storm caught us off guard. Can we stay until it passes?" Sarah hesitated, glancing at her children, then back at their trembling hands. Something in the man's eyes, exhausted but sincere, made her nod. She opened the door wide and let them in. The small cabin quickly filled with the smell of wet leather and the crackle of the fire. As the snowstorm roared outside, Sarah realized she had just let a gang of strangers into her home, and hoped her decision was the right one. The storm outside grew fierce, rattling the windows while Sarah tried to make everyone comfortable. She filled pots with soup, brewed coffee, and handed out blankets. The bikers, calling themselves the Iron Souls, were not what she expected. They were veterans, men who had served overseas, now riding across the country to raise money for homeless soldiers. Their leader, Jack Rayner, helped her fix the flickering fire, his calm voice cutting through the chaos. Her children, Lily and Ben, peeked from behind a doorway, watching the tough-looking strangers with curiosity. Before long, one of the bikers offered Lily his glove as a joke. Another taught Ben how to shuffle cards. Laughter slowly replaced fear. When the power went out, Sarah lit candles and everyone gathered close. The men shared stories of war, loss, and brotherhood, voices rough but full of heart. Jack played an old tune on a harmonica, and a few joined in, humming softly. The cabin, once silent and lonely, was now alive with warmth and connection. Sarah looked around the room and realized something unexpected. These men, hardened by life, carried more kindness than most she had known. The storm outside no longer felt as cold as it had before. When morning came, the storm had finally quieted. The world outside was covered in a thick layer of snow, glittering under the pale sun. Sarah stepped outside, breathing in the icy air, grateful everyone had made it through the night. The bikers were preparing to leave, thanking her with handshakes and warm smiles. But before they could ride off, a distant rumble filled the valley. Sarah turned toward the sound. Hundreds of motorcycle engines echoed through the woods, growing louder by the second. Within minutes, the road leading to her cabin filled with bikers, one after another, until more than 200 surrounded her home. Sarah's eyes widened in disbelief. Jack stepped beside her, smiling. "Word travels fast," he said. "You helped our brothers last night. The rest came to thank you." The air was filled with the steady thrum of engines, but it wasn't threatening. It was powerful, unified, and full of respect. Some riders brought supplies. Others unloaded stacks of firewood and food. Sarah stood speechless, her children clutching her hands as the bikers formed a wide circle around the cabin. Jack turned to her and said softly, "You're part of our family now." In that moment, Sarah felt something she hadn't in years: belonging. Sarah invited the bikers to stay for breakfast. Her small cabin filled with the scent of coffee, pancakes, and laughter. The children sat wide-eyed, passing plates as the men shared stories and jokes that echoed with warmth. Outside, rows of motorcycles gleamed under the sun, their riders talking quietly, some chopping wood, others fixing the broken fence. When it was time for them to leave, Jack stepped forward, holding an envelope. "From all of us," he said simply, handing it to her. Sarah opened it, her hands trembling, and gasped. Inside was a check for $25,000. Jack smiled at her stunned expression. "You didn't just give us shelter," he said. "You reminded us what kindness looks like." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes as she hugged her children close. "I just did what anyone should," she whispered. Jack shook his head gently. "Not everyone does." As the bikers rode away, engines thundering down the snowy trail, Sarah stood on the porch, watching the long line disappear into the trees. Her cabin felt different now. Not just a home, but a place touched by loyalty, gratitude, and unexpected friendship. That day, Sarah learned that kindness can echo louder than any storm.